Good day and welcome to another A Week at the Plot. I've just put up this tomato frame for the tomatoes by our polytunnel. So the bamboos go into the ground. These are 2.4 meter bamboos. They're quite long and they go into the ground really as far as you can sensibly get them. This bed down here is quite soft, but up here where the flower border is, the top flower border bit, I have actually put a metal rebar in here because this ground here is so solid underneath that I couldn't get the bamboos fully in. So I've put a rebar in and you can see that the bamboo closest to us is at a bit of a jaunty angle. But you know what? I'm not bothered with that. I think it looks quite fun, actually. My OCD would usually kick in, but it's not on this occasion. I quite like the look of it, actually, from the polytunnel looking straight down. So we're leaving it as it is. So I've put a rebar, as I say, in here. And I've tied this bamboo to the rebar. So once I had put in our case, 6 vertical bamboos in, I then put the cross bamboos in, or the lengths of bamboo right across here. Again, these are 2.4 meter bamboos. You can see where they cross here, they overlap. And they have been tied at the ends really strongly, each end. And then both canes have been tied in the middle and the same on the other side. Then what we have done, you can see here, is we've put a cross brace in this end and also this end here. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to keep the bars as strong as possible. I'm using 6 ply this year for our tomatoes in terms of twine because I found the 3 ply wasn't really strong enough to last the season last year. With watering and heat and sun, I found that the 3 ply really deteriorated, because what we are going to be doing next is tying twine to the base, very loosely to the base of these tomatoes, and then stringing the line right up and tying it up here. So right at the base, tying a loose loop knot and then tying it up to the frame. And then as these tomatoes grow, we will spin the twine around them. Right, I have counted my bamboos, as you know, and I have ordered extra because I don't have enough to do the bed down by the main shed. Let's just have a closer look at what I have done. As I mentioned, the ground beneath this flower bed is really quite hard, and it was difficult to get the bamboo cane in deeply enough. So I banged this metal rebar, reinforcement bar, in, then put the bamboo in as far as I could push it, and then have tied it off here. This will obviously add stability as well. Then all the 6 canes, as I said, went in, and then this cane was tied in first. Then I tied in that corner over there, and then these canes here were sort of at this angle because the tips of them were touching the ground, and then I lifted them up and tied them in at the center. We go in here, you can see that they're tied in, and the same the other side. Now, obviously, tomatoes can get very heavy when they're in full crop, and I'll be keeping an eye on things because if I feel that there's too much sway in these, I may put another rebar where I think it would be sensible to do so. If you want to use more bamboos and do cross bracings like this, you can do that obviously as well. You may remember that last week we had a tomato that had been sliced by a plastic mealyworm bag, and I said I was going to leave it in because hopefully it would re-sprout and give us a later harvest, or potentially give us a later harvest. And there it is, it has sprouted. So fingers crossed for that little one to catch up with the rest. You may also remember that I put the piece that had been sliced off into water to see if we could root it. Let's have a quick look at that. This is the tomato that we put into this glass jar, which was filled, about 3/4 filled with water, just normal tap water. And you can see down below that roots have started growing. Let me just lift it out. You can see the roots there. So I'm really pleased that even though that did get chopped off by a rather firm plastic bag that was flying across our site, we've now got potentially, well, we've now got 2 plants out of it. The one that's still in the ground that has re-sprouted, and this one here. We are losing a few this year due to slugs. So this one will certainly benefit us by replacing one that has been eaten by a slug. It always feels like quite an achievement getting that first tomato frame up. You obviously may grow tomatoes a different way than we do. Many people put a bamboo cane next to each of their tomatoes and then tie them in as they grow. If you're growing bush varieties, of course, you don't need to train them whatsoever because their bushing type, their bushing aspect is natural. So they tend to sort of hold themselves up. Maybe Roma needs a bit of additional support. But yeah, it's great to have those up. And I hope that my further bamboo canes that I have purchased will arrive today or tomorrow, so that I can get these done as soon as possible. The tomatoes are now at the stage, at the height where they've really firmed up in the ground because they've been blown about by the wind and they firmed up in the ground. Some of those stems are maybe 3/4 of an inch across now, and they're quite stable, but one big gust of wind or trampling by a fox will take them down. So I do need to make sure I do the tomato frames in the big tomato bed as soon as possible. The others that we've got here, the Rose de Ben, which Vivi gave us, they're looking fine at the moment. And the Tiny Tim, which are a smaller variety, I need to check whether they do need any support. They're not a bushing variety, I don't think, but I think they're just a short variety. So they will have a determinate height, where most of the tomatoes that we grow are indeterminate. In other words, what that means is they will just carry on growing. If you feed them and you carry on watering them, they will carry on growing in the perfect conditions. As I think I've said before, in Guernsey, where I come from, my Uncle Len and Auntie Phil used to be growers and used to grow tomatoes. They grew huge amount of flowers for export from Guernsey, particularly freesias, which is why I love freesias. And tomatoes was a really big crop for them. And some of those used to get up to about 20 foot high in the greenhouses over there. And you did need ladders to get up and pick the tomatoes. So yeah, anyway, that's my job for today. Tomorrow we've talked about tinker time with tomatoes, And I'm going to talk a little bit about tomatoes, I think, again, for tomorrow's video. Tinker time is that time where you need to care for your tomatoes, and maybe tinker time, it's a lovely phrase and it is what we do, but it's really important that we do it, because as I've said, indeterminate tomatoes, which we mainly grow, will grow and grow. They'll quite easily get to 5 foot here, 6 foot potentially. I think Vivi had some that were even 7 foot last year. So they will carry on growing. But what you do need to do with the indeterminate, the tall ones that will spin around a cord, or you put them around a cord, you train them. What you need to do is you need to take out the side shoots of those, where the bushing varieties, you don't need to worry about taking off side shoots. But let's come on to that tomorrow. See you soon. Bye. Good day. This here is one of our red Oxheart tomatoes. And yesterday I was talking about, in tomatoes that grow quite tall, indeterminate varieties, you will see tomatoes called determinate and indeterminate. And you'll see in indeterminate varieties, it's best to remove side shoots. And if we go in here, you see this side shoot. If I move that leaf, this side shoot, here's another one developing here. If we just move that over, can you see this one as well? And there's one at the bottom, this one. With the climbing stroke indeterminate varieties, you want the energy to go into the main stem of the tomato rather than into any side shoots. If you're growing determinate varieties, which have a general height to which they will grow of maybe 2 feet, and are very often bushing varieties, maybe 3 feet, like Roma, you can leave these side shoots in because they are bushing varieties. However, as you have heard, we've lost a few tomatoes. So what I'm going to do is take off these side shoots, but some of the bigger side shoots I'm going to put into water, like we did with that one that got sliced off a few weeks ago. Hopefully some of them will develop roots and we can use them as later planting stock. But what I'm going to do now is just go in with my fingernail and nip the side shoots off. I'm going to do that in all of these. I can see some nice ones on there, which I may look at rooting. But yeah, that's my job for today. It's tinker time with tomatoes. Well, that was a lovely tinker time. I have taken quite a few of those side shoots off. I think about 6 of them, and put them into water like I did with the other one. I've also taken 4 off of the large ones and put them directly into compost to see which ones may do better, whether it's better to put side shoots like that if you want to grow further plants into water, or whether you can actually put them directly into modules of compost, which is what I've done. I tend to feel that the water route is the better way, because I don't know. I sort of feel it is the right way, the better way. So yeah, that was a lovely tinker time. Tinker time, it does sound quite light, you know, oh, I'm going to have some tinker time with my tomatoes. It's hard work, you know. It's not hard work like, you know, mining or anything like that, but particularly at this stage where you're bending down on each plant, checking each plant, removing side shoots. You know, you're up and down, and it's quite a sweaty job in this heat. I know some people don't like the term sweaty Betty, but I think it's a rather lovely term. So I'm going to use it. I'm a bit of a sweaty Betty. So there we are. I'm going to leave it there today. We'll do something else soon. The carrots and the parsnips really seem to have appreciated that weed the other day and that little bit of chatting to them, because they seem to be really jumping on. But of course, the real thing is that this weather is warm and things are being well watered. So why would they not be growing? There we are. Right. I'm going to get on with something else, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye. These are our broad beans, and I've decided that today I'm going to take them out. The ones that have formed will be going into our freezer. We'll be freezing them individually and then bagging them up, and they will be in our freezer. And then the plants will be chopped up and going into one of our compost bins, our general compost bin, I think. That will also then give me an opportunity to get to the grasses. If I can just tip you up a bit, you can see those grasses there, which have actually come in from the plot next door, which was not maintained too well last year, or the back end of last year at least. And I want to get those out. And what I want to put down here is our cheeky prints. So I'm keen to get our cheeky prints in there. First of all, though, I'm going to harvest all the broad beans and put their pods into a bag to take home to take out of the pods later. An hour later, and the broad beans have been harvested, removed, the bed's been weeded, it's been forked, the cheeky prints have been put in, and they've been given a really good water. What I will do tomorrow is I got distracted halfway, well, not halfway through this, but just before I planted the cheeky prints, I was distracted by a phone call. And I now notice standing here that I haven't leveled the ground off that well. So I will be just getting on my hands and knees tomorrow with my hand fork and just moving the soil around to level it off better than it is at the moment. But that is our cheeky prints in and our broad beans out. The broad beans are now in the big hexagonal composter, and all the weeds that I've taken out have gone into our hot bin composter, which is sitting around 65 degrees internally at the moment. So fingers crossed that will heat up even more with all of that nitrogen-rich grass having gone in. Oh, let's just have a look at the broad bean harvest. This is our broad bean harvest. Obviously, these aren't out of their pods yet. I'll be taking these home now and removing them from their pods and freezing individually, like I said earlier, and then bagging up and popping back in the freezer. Then we can take out a handful or so at a time. Certainly not our best harvest of broad beans. Last year we got a really fantastic harvest. The broad beans did incredibly well and did not get hit by black fly until right at the end, when all the pods had fattened up. These, yeah, okay harvest. I think I mainly removed these now because I wanted to get the cheeky prints in. I knew that these weren't going to come to a huge amount. They were hit by that snow and that frost, and even though, when was that, March? And even though they really picked up towards the end, they never really got going in terms of pods and podding up. But you know what? This is better than nothing. For a bed that could have been lying idle over the winter, it's a decent enough harvest. Right, I'm going to leave it there for today, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye. Good day. I thought we'd have a quick look at some of the poppies that are flowering at the moment on the plot. There's this very frilly pink one here, layered petals, and the red one is, I just think that's glorious, that one. Fewer petals than the pink, but absolutely lovely. Look at all the seed heads that will be giving us seed. We'll be allowing those to fall to the ground mainly. I might actually thin out some of those seed heads because a lot of energy will be going into producing them. So maybe if we thin out the seed heads and have fewer seed heads, we'll have better seed. I wonder. California poppies, you've seen quite a lot of. They've been out for quite some time. Trying to avoid my shadow. And then, look at them. Aren't they glorious? And then if we come over, look at these. Aren't they lovely? Just, again, so glorious. And I saw a bee in there before we turned up. But look at that. Lovely. Oh, there's a mesembryanthemum coming out there, look. Anyway, we're not looking at mesembryanthemums today, we're just looking at poppies. Coming over to this one. Again, these are just glorious. As you can see, we've had quite a few on here already. There's a honeybee in there, look. Loving that one. Glorious. Absolutely glorious. Then moving over, we've got some about to come here. Obviously, you know, we've got lots to come here. If I just come down, you can see there's a different leaf type in there. Much tighter leaf, still a poppy. Oh, look at that bumble. That bumble saying, where is the nectar? I think that one has largely been pollinated by now. That was the first to come out. But look at the various stages. That one's in bud. That one's bursting out. Just glorious. And that pink one over there. We've got all these to come out. Just moving over to this one. Oh, another big bee. We didn't want to be on camera. Lovely, lovely. And I know our neighbours won't mind. Oh, look, that one there. Can you see? That one's opening up and is going to be a pink one. Like that one over there. And I know my neighbours won't mind, but they've got glorious ones as well. Just beautiful. And they've also got these lovely, oh, that one, red ones, which I guess is the traditional Flanders poppy that we see. That bumblebee is really trying to find its nectar. But yeah, we'll come back to these. The various poppies on the plot and their seed heads. See you again soon. Bye. Good day. Though I think I should say good day. It is so still down here today. I was just about to say there's nobody on the site at the moment, and in fact I can't see anyone on the site. But I just saw somebody coming towards the gate, so there will be somebody on here soon. But it's such a still Sunday morning, it really is. And I've come directly to the shed. We've been away in Wales. So we went on Wednesday afternoon and we came back yesterday, Saturday. So all the work that you've seen so far was done on Monday, Tuesday, or the poppy tour was Wednesday morning. And I've come directly to the shed because I'm going to go around the plot with you quickly now. We've had absolutely torrents of rain since we've been away. We've been in Wales where we had lovely warm weather, not too sunny, absolutely blissful, sitting outside, glorious sunshine, all of that. Whilst in London, it's been chucking it down. And I know that Lee and Vivi and a few others on Planet Vegetarian have all said how much water has fallen from the skies over the past couple of days. But today, there's a little drizzle in the air, but actually it's pleasant. I'm shirt sleeves, the temperature's around 13, 14 degrees at the moment, and it's rather lovely and completely still. There is no breeze whatsoever, he says, checking, and in fact, no breeze whatsoever. However, what I'm sure there has been whilst I've been away, as well as all the rain, is an awful lot of slug and snail activity. So we're going to go out there and have a look at if, fingers crossed, there is no slug or snail damage. But I think that really would be a miracle. I do. What I have been slightly concerned about is because we've been deluged, that rain seems to have been very heavy at points. I don't think we've had any lightning or thunder or lightning, but we've had absolutely deluge after deluge. And as you will know, some of our tomatoes are tied up, but I was waiting for other bamboo canes to arrive, and I didn't do the bed next to this shed, the big tomato bed. So I'm slightly fearful that with the heavy rain, some of those may have snapped. There was one that snapped a week or so ago, but I just propped it up with a stick. So I should have done that with others, but I don't have that many sticks. I do have some more bamboo canes. So I could have done some of the rows on Wednesday morning, but time ran away with me. Anyway, let's get out there and see if there is any slug and snail damage. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed for there not being any slug and snail damage, that is. One thing I remembered I had not done was swap out gravel trays with holes in them for our black trays, which don't have holes in them, before I went away. As you can see, this one is completely full, not at the front because it's on a slant, but at the back, that's completely full. So that will mean, yes, that these are as well. So that's going to be one of the jobs I need to do. Gosh, look, completely full. I mean, yeah. Oh, I hope our cucumbers are okay. Right. Oh. actually, oh, no, I can see. Yeah, let's go over there. Oh, I can see our next door neighbour. She's put her canes in on her tomatoes. Right, this is the one that broke off a week ago. I clearly didn't tie it in enough, so it has broken. So I will get rid of those. Sadly, that was the one that really started fruiting pretty well. You can see flowers up here. But actually, there's one there. What's that one done? That one's just bent over. Actually, you know what? I'm pretty pleased. Oh, I've missed a... Not sure if you can see in this one here. I've missed a side shoot. And it's really doing incredibly well, the side shoot. Maybe... Oh, I can see another one there. Can you see in there? It's another side shoot poking out to the back. Plane's going over now. But actually, you know what? Yeah, okay. No, this is nowhere near. Was another side shoot. Gosh, I've missed quite a few side shoots. More tinker time of tomatoes, which, as I said the other day, isn't tinker time. But those side shoots I will try and root to replace ones like this. There are a couple that really aren't doing well this year. Like that one, not really getting going at all. Never mind. Okay, no real damage there. No real damage in there. I can see a what do you call that? Oh, I've forgotten. Tree spinach coming up. Runner beans, fine. Broad beans, fine. We're going to be doing a harvest of our highly scientific experiment shortly. These are our Golden Gate. Oh yeah, a few of these have had their growing tips munched. Look there. And this one just around the back here has had its growing tip munched. These are our Madeira Maroons, which seem fine. Our Mange 2, all fine. Gosh, some picking to do there. Oh, actually, I thought these squash might have got it because they only went in a week ago. But no, they look all fine. Peppers, oh. Right, we've definitely lost a pot, apart from this one. We've lost all of Brian's. Oh, and this one here, right at the end. All of Brian Brown's Jamaica peppers. All the other peppers are sort of okay. Oh no, look, this one's definitely been munched. That's our Morrison's long yellow. But not too bad, not too bad. Our iceberg lettuce, that is being munched, but the actual iceberg part, look at that. That's fabulous. We took 2 of those away to the Tittington Smythes. They were great. Yeah, good. I do need to re-sow some of the carrots and parsnips, but generally they've really enjoyed the rain, as I think have the poppies. Those beans seem fine. Those beans seem okay as well. That's good. Good, good, good so far. Need to tidy up that bed. Those lettuce seem fine. Right, the tomatoes here. These were all tied up, so they're all fine. Oh, these are our cucumbers, cucumber wombers. Look, I need to look at that water in there. Oh, Vivi. Oh, look, the forest of... That is like a forest of asparagus. Gosh, yes, I need to swap out Look at these. This is our Brussels, no, this is our Cavallo Nero, no, Nero di Toscana Portuguese cabbage and dazzling blue kale, which I covered before I went, mainly because of pigeon damage. Because the dazzling blue kale is loved by pigeons, I have found out. Okay, we're now starting to get flowers. Yeah. You know what? Yeah, weeds, but no damage. Oh. Right. They say leave the best for last. Maybe this is the worst for last. Yeah, my fault for not having kept on top of all that grass. But this is our Cheeky Prince bed. We do have Cheeky Prince in the bed down that I just showed you where the other squash is. We've got Cheeky Prince in there. But this was the bed of Cheeky Prince that I wanted to grow on and have for save seed. And I mean, you know, where's the Cheeky Prince there? Here it is there. Oh, well, you know what? Yeah. My fault for not having got on top of the weeds. We don't really have this area as a wildlife area. We do have this area underneath here as a wildlife area. And we have that area over there. But this is, generally I get all of the weeds out of this area where that rather reluctant lavender is. But yeah, that's all of our Cheeky Prince that we were going to save seed from gone. Hey ho, hey ho. Yeah, I'll decide what to do. We've got plenty of Cheeky Prince seeds from Jay, so it's a bit too late, I think, to sow them now. And as we've got so many, I'll start the Cheeky Prince growing again next year. Yeah. Right. Well, I will leave it there. Because it was about, you know, all of these brassicas seem okay. Oh, even this little Cheeky Prince. Oh, look. That's where it is there. You know what? The interesting thing is I can't see any slugs or snails on the surface. Look at this Portuguese cabbage. Just a fantastic plant for the hungry gap because it does grow throughout the winter. More on that another time. All in all, not too bad. I mean, it's a shame we've lost all of our Cheeky Prince on the top half of the plot here. You know, that is disappointing. But I'm thinking, what am I going to grow there? I'm thinking more beans. Not quite sure what the weather has got in store for us, but I'm thinking more beans could go in there. If we've got more bamboos coming, which we have, I could build more frames for beans and have more beans in there. There's also, I want to replace some of the tomatoes with the tomatoes that are rooting. I've also seen, as you've just seen now, a couple of other side shoots that I'm going to take off. Large side shoots that I will see if I can root. And I've also seen some volunteer tomatoes coming up, which is fabulous. Gosh, there's a big plane going over. I suppose because of the cloud cover and the moisture, the sound just travels and feels more thunderous than it actually usually does. So I don't think the plane is making any more noise than it normally does. That would be silly. But yeah, having volunteer tomatoes is fun. You know, it's, you don't know what's going to come out. When we were at the Tittings and Smythes the other day, their English residents, they had some self-seeded salad leaves that were coming up. So, and they look so strong. You know, that's the thing with volunteer plants. They often look so strong. Whether they'll produce well, or whether our tomatoes here will produce well, I'm sure the Tittington Smythes lettuce will do very well because it looked as though it was going to. So yeah, all in all, you know, not bad. I am going to swap out our green gravel trays with holes in it for the black gravel trays without holes in. I'm going to do that straight away after I finished here. But all in all, yeah, fine. Very disappointed about the cheeky prints, but something else can go in its place. So, you know, hooray. And we'll carry on the cheeky prints growing next year. I'm not going to save seeds from the cheeky prints that we have on the lower half of the plot if they grow, which they are doing at the moment. And the reason being is they're amidst Uchiki curry, and they're amidst Oregon homestead sweetmeat, squash. So because squash do cross-pollinate very easily, I'm not going to save seed from those cheeky prints should they come to fruition. People say, why can't why don't tomato seeds cross-pollinate? You save seeds from your tomatoes, but why don't they cross-pollinate? It's actually because the most of the pollination of tomatoes, when bees go in, they vibrate, and tomatoes pollinate themselves, so the pollen falls inside onto the stigma and it produces itself basically. So you'd need to go in, most tomato plants anyway, you'd need to go in with something like a cotton bud into one variety and into another variety to actually cross-pollinate them. So tomatoes very rarely cross-pollinate, so you generally get true tomatoes from when you save seeds. So I did talk about that last year a bit more detail, so I'll catch up. I'll try and remember that and put a link in when we upload this to YouTube. But yeah, it's drizzling now. It's drizzling more heavily than it was when I was out there a minute ago. So I'm going to say goodbye, and I'm going to get on and swap out those gravel trays. Bye.